Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare
Hare.
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We continue reading from Srimad Bhagavatam. We are on Canto 3, Chapter 26, Text 35. Are you able to see the screen? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
perfectly fine.
Really? Okay, great. It's a bit strange for me today, but yeah, glad that it's working all right. Okay, so Nabhasha Shabda Tanmatrat Kala Gatya Vikurvata Sparsho Bhavat Tato Vayus Tvak Sparshaya Cha Sangraha. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. From ethereal existence, which evolves from sound, the next transformation takes place under the impulse of time, and thus the subtle element touch, and thence the air and sense of touch became prominent. So we can see that the modes, it's being agitated, and with time. Always the time factor is there. The false ego was agitated with goodness and passion. Now it's with ignorance. And then gradually, the elements are being created. But at each moment, the time factor, Kal is there. Kal is the impersonal aspect of Krishna, the supreme will of Krishna, the most benevolent will of Krishna. So it's by his will everything is happening. Otherwise, nothing would happen. No transformation would take place. That is the main point. That's the main thing to understand in the course of, because just sitting like that, the modes of nature are not going to do anything. It's only by the will of the Lord, which is shown with the time factor. That's when the modes are being agitated and one element is created by another. So we can understand also the supreme position of the Lord in this way. In the course of time, when the subtle forms are transformed into gross forms, they become the objects of touch. The objects of touch and the tactile sense also develop after this evolution in time. Sound is the first sense object to exhibit material existence, and from the perception of sound, touch perception evolves, and from touch perception, the perception of sight. That is the way of the gradual evolution of our perceptive objects. So we said the sound was the most subtle, sky is the most subtle. Then from this sound now has come touch, air, and skin. So which is a bit more gross than sky. Air we can feel, skin we can feel.
So is it that, are they telling, like, in the previous one also, so are they telling us the characteristics of like all these
characteristics
of the tattvas? Like in the 34th, like in the previous one also, they told us that मन इंद्रियां तथा प्राण या जीवात्मा के रूप में होते हैं. So like these all three are the characteristics of ether.
These are no. So we are getting from sound. Ether was created, right? Ether created the sound. Sound created the ether. Sound created ether. Then from sound, now there is touch. Touch is being created from sound. And so this is just showing how the senses and the objects of senses and the elements are being created one after another.
Okay.
This is what it is.
Okay. So, okay. Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
It's okay. Mridutvam kathinatvam cha shaityam ushnatvam eva cha etat sparshasya sparshatvam tanmatratvam nabhasvataha. Softness and hardness and cold and heat are the distinguishing attributes of touch, which is characterized as the subtle form of air. So now, what can we feel because of touch? Soft, hard, cold, heat. By this touch sensation, we are able to feel it, which is characterized as the subtle form of air. So it's because of air that we are able to feel. Tangibility is the proof of form. In actuality, objects are perceived in two different ways. They are either soft or hard, hot or cold, etc. This tangible action of the tactile sense is the result of the evolution of air, which is produced from the sky. So we can see that how from the most subtle, the creation is happening to the most gross, and gradually.
So is it that most subtle, so like this is subtler than, like ether is subtler than the touch, and that's why from there the sound is coming, right? As you said, the gross is later and then the subtler is before, right?
That's right. That's
Okay.
right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so more and more characteristics are being added. The more gross, the more characteristics. Like sound, sound, we can't touch it, feel it. We can't see sound. We can't taste sound. We can't smell sound. We can only hear it, no? But we can't touch. Well, of course, if you put it on the speaker, then you'll say, yeah, I can feel the sound waves. But but as such, but that is also because the skin is there, the tactile touch is there. Because of that, we can feel it. Because now air is created, so the air we can feel because of the skin.
Okay.
The sense of touch is there. And so now we'll see how then more gross will be created. Fire, that we can see also. So fire has sound, it has touch, and it has form. So more characteristics are added.
Yeah, so they are telling us the characteristics of these tattvas are also explained, right?
Characteristics are also explained.
Yeah, the characteristics
that's right.
are also explained. Yeah.
Yeah,
So because
that's
you
right.
all were
Yes, you are right.
confused, because I came home and then I read the Hindi part, and then even in the 34th, they were telling about the characteristics of, like, you were confused, no, that what is this happening? So they were the characteristics of this.
Of the ether, you mean? Yesterday, what we were reading.
That how the
Okay, thank
ether
you.
is in the man, indriya, and pran. So pran is the pran vayu, the nari inside, like in the body, because the man and indriya is the subtler one. So it is how in the body, these all three, and how ether is there also. Like this is the three characteristics: man, indriya, and pran of
Okay.
the ether. Yeah, I mean, I can
Okay.
share. Yeah, it like that's what I understood, something like that. That as we are all getting, like now we are getting the characteristics of this, the sound, that how it is. Sorry, the touch, that how it is hard, soft, and the touch could be like how you could feel with the soft,
Yeah.
hard, or so, like that was also the characteristic.
Okay.
So
Okay.
first they
Thank
tell
you.
that how it comes, and then the characteristic is explained, that this is the characteristic of it.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Okay. Great. Thank you. So, all right. So that makes yesterday's was a bit more clearer. Thank you so much. Thank you. So we'll continue reading. Chalanam vyohanam praptir netritvam dravya shabdayo sarvendriya nam atmatvam vayo karma bilakshanam. The action of the air is exhibited in movements, mixing, allowing approach to the objects of sound and other sense perceptions, and providing for the proper functioning of all other senses. We can perceive the action of air when the branches of a tree move or when dry leaves on the ground collect together. Similarly, it is only by the action of air that a body moves. And when the air circulation is impeded, many diseases result. paralysis, nervous breakdowns, madness, and many other diseases are actually due to an insufficient circulation of air. In the Ayurvedic system, these diseases are treated on the basis of air circulation. If from the beginning one takes care of the process of air circulation, such diseases cannot take place. From the Ayurveda as well as from the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is clear that so many activities are going on internally and externally because of air alone. And as soon as there is some deficiency in the air circulation, these activities cannot take place. Here it is clearly stated, Netratam Dravya Shabdayo. A sense of proprietorship over action is also due to the activity of air. If the air circulation is stifled, we cannot approach a place after hearing. If someone calls us, we hear the sound because of this air circulation, and we approach that sound or the place from which the sound comes. It is clearly said in this verse that these are all movements of the air. The ability to detect odors is also due to the action of the air. So it's because of the air that we can smell. It's because of the air that the sound travels to us. It's because of the air also internal body. Ayurveda says, right, that vata, some bodies have made up of only air bodies, vata, pitta, and kapha, right, based on Ayurveda. So if the air in the body gets disturbed, then it leads to a lot of diseases. So this is the action of air. And inside the body also these life airs are there. How many different types of airs are going on? I'm not sure now, 10 or something. Pran, Vayu, they all that. Upo, we read that earlier. I think that's in the Bhagavad Gita or something, that how the yogi manipulates these airs. So anyway, we are trying to understand that because of air, how the movements are happening because of movement of air. Air has the movement. So all these movements are being possible.
So it's got to do with the breath, right? Breath.
Breath also, yes. Yeah.
The ingoing in and then the outgoing breath.
Outgoing, yeah. Right. That's right. That's right. Because that's what here is mentioned, no? Ayurveda, so all the air circulation in the body. Yeah, that's right.
So that is that because of the air, the body is properly functionable. Because of the proper movement of the air inside.
Yeah, so the ether is also in the body, and the air is also in the body. Fire is also in the body, right? The fire of digestion.
Yeah,
and then water is also in the body. And then earth, body is made up of this grossest, right? And so we can see that these elements are within the body also and outside the body also. Yeah. So we can see in that practically how this body is made up of these material elements, because we are thinking the other body, right? So it can give us a little bit more understanding. Oh, but this body is just made up of these material elements, and I'm so attached to it.
So I think even that's why in the purport also it is explained both from the outside view and from the inside view.
Yes.
Right? Both the examples are given.
Yes.
For everything. Like even in the previous one, they mentioned that how the images are transferred from one place to another and how the inside of the body, the ether is working with the man, indriya and pran. So like they are giving both the examples simultaneously.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Right? So it's becoming more clear then. That's right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Vayoscha sparsha tanmatra drupam deve ritad abhud sammothitam tatas tejas chakshu rupopalambanam. By the interactions of the air and the sensations of touch, one receives different forms according to destiny. By evolution of such forms, there is fire, and the eyes see different different forms in color. Because of destiny, the touch sensation, the interactions of air, and the situation of the mind, which is produced of the ethereal element, one receives a body according to his previous activities. Needless to say, a living entity transmigrates from one form to another. His form changes according to destiny and by the arrangement of a superior authority which controls the interaction of air and the mental situation. Form is the combination of different types of sense perception. Predestined activities are the plans of the mental situation and the interaction of air. So because based on our destiny, based on our desire and karma, we are going to get another body. And then there are deities, demigods who are under the control of air, under the control of mind, the actions. So we are being controlled. And then the touch sensation. So the air has the touch. And then because the air is in interaction, touch sensation, and the situation of the mind, which is produced of the ethereal element. So that's what Neha helped us understand, that the ether, the mind that's how the ether is present in the body, and that's with the mind. And then because of the mind and the interactions of air, we are getting a different body. This form changes according to destiny and by the arrangement of a superior authority and mental situation. So we are getting to know technically, you know, how we have a mobile and we are happy just, oh, I can use my messages and I can use this, so I'm happy with it. But someone would like to know technically what's happening. So here we can understand technically what's happening. No wonder Prabhupada said in that verse of the ether, that if someone wants to have scientific, use this for scientific things, they can use it, because this is showing practically of how things are happening. Form is the combination of different types of sense perception. Predestined activities are the plans of the mental situation and the interaction of air. So it's in the mind that we keep thinking, feeling, and willing. And then when we are willing, then we act, right? We act on that. And so this is showing it's the combination of the mind, interaction of the mind and air, situation of mind and interaction of air. And that's how we are getting into another body. Predestined activities are the plans of, so yeah, because that's how we know, right? It's because of our mind thoughts, we are creating our different bodies. Our thoughts are creating our different body. Form changes according to destiny. And this form that we can see, it changes based on our destiny, arrangement of a superior authority.
So is it that what they're trying to say is that the situation of the mind is that the desire that we are having at that time? Is it the situation of the mind is that?
Yes, the situation of the mind is the desire, the consciousness. Yes.
The desire, the consciousness. And then when that interacts with the air, maybe, and then our karmas, then all that work together and give us another body, is it?
Another body, yes. And it's by superior control. There is an authority there. The ultimate authority is, of course, Krishna. But you know how he's kept so many different authorities in charge of different departments. Yeah. Okay. Yes, predestined activities. Is that okay?
Yeah. So the mental situation means mind.
Yes, the thoughts, the consciousness of the mind. Okay. Mental situation. What is our consciousness?
What is in our mind, right?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. You know, like situation, or sometimes we might be angry, or we might be, so what's the consciousness at that time? Yeah, or we might be Krishna conscious. So the situation of the mind depends on that. Yeah. And so then it's said that by evolution of such forms, there is fire, and the eye see different forms in color. So we can see that the interaction of air, by the interaction of air, then what happens? The interaction of air and the sense of touch, then now form is created. Form and the element fire is created, and eyes are created. The eyes are able to see the different forms now, and the different colors, because form means different colors. Air, we can't see any color. Air is no color, right? So now another element has been added. So fire is created element, and with that there is form, and with that the eyes are able to see, the sense of sight. Is that okay? So we saw that from sound, ether, then from this ether, then we got, what is that? Touch and air and skin. So first was sound, ether, and ears, then is touch, air, and skin. And now we have form, fire, and eyes. So which are more gross and more characteristic. In eyes and form, you can see there is more colors, shapes.
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah, this
Okay.
makes sense. Yeah.
Okay. So we'll stop here for today. Thank you so much for listening and enjoining. And Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna.